as you said, you forget how lucky you are to even be in America, that your mom won that lottery to even get here. And, gratefulness is something, it's really hard to practice being grateful for things, right? Because we take our vision and our breath and all this stuff for granted. But right now, there's somebody that can't see, and there's somebody that's literally, we live in a time of COVID, and somebody's literally breathing their last breath.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset, everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer. Be sure to head over to clicksandbricksacademy.com so you can access all the resources to start improving your sales today.
Today, we're going to be talking to Desmond. He helps transformational authors bring their business to the next level. How are you doing today, Desmond?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining us today. I know you're a busy guy and taking some time out through the day to help our audience learn a little bit about what you guys do over there at Expert Funnel Incubator. Do you mind telling the audience a little bit about who you are and what it is exactly that you do?
Okay, so I always like to say I'm a marketer first, entrepreneur second. So again, like Ken said, what we do at Expert Funnel Incubator is we help transformational authors become transformational coaches. We help them sell their expertise. We help them from creating their marketing system, their organic marketing system, help them learn transformational sales. It's a sort of sales method that helps you sell where you sell without actually selling. And then we help them create their high ticket offer.
Fantastic. So I've seen your post now for probably 6 months to a year back and forth. And we've talked in Instant Messenger a couple times back and forth, but it was pretty casual. And the other day you put out, and your artwork and the things that you post on Facebook, I think are amazing and inspirational. And I thank you for all of that. The world needs more positive minded people in it. And you're definitely one of those. But you posted a story online about your origin story the other day, and I was reading it and it kind of touched me a little bit. And that's like most of the time Debbie reaches out to entrepreneurs to book these meetings, and it's rare that I reach out directly, but I did for you. And it was that story that really made me do that. Do you mind sharing that story with the audience a little bit about, where you come from and kind of some of the struggles and adversity that you had to deal with to get where you're at today?
Okay, awesome. So just a little marketing quote. There's a quote that goes, facts tell, stories sell. So a lot of what I'm trying to do right now is figure out those stories that are really going to convert my audience. So I'm glad that, it worked in helping me get an interview. So just a little intro to who I am. Story's nothing crazy. My mom actually won a lottery. I'm pretty sure it was early 2000s, if not like in the 90s. She won a lottery to get a visa to come to America. So I wouldn't even be in America if it weren't for that. I forget that sometimes, but my parents wanted to come to America for the same reason any sort of immigrant parents want to come here for, which is to not only provide a better life for the family, for themselves, for their family back home, but for the family that they have. And so my parents come to America. I grow up in Maryland. And growing up, we grew up lower middle class, and my parents worked really hard. Dad, 2 jobs, my mom, 1 job. My mom isn't like college educated, so never really the best jobs. My dad, college educated, but never really like took advantage of any degrees he got. He has like a bachelor's and a master's, but I never really saw him work any jobs where he was using those degrees. So we grew up lower middle class. I always had food on the table, roof over our head. But I just saw my parents working really hard, and I didn't see a life that I necessarily wanted to live when it came to every aspect of what Ty Lopez, who is my first mentor, would consider the good life, which would be health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? There's a quote that goes something like, the mass of men live quiet lives of desperation. And you see that a lot with just like people dealing with depression and all these health problems. And so growing up, I always like to think differently and kind of search, and I always like to go online and do my research on things like alternative medicine and all these different things. And so when I was going to graduate high school, my whole idea was I was going to go to college, get a job as a doctor or something. But like my whole life, I knew that wasn't me. Like I just knew I couldn't be an engineer or a doctor or something. Like that was the idea, but like it just didn't make any sense. So when the time finally came, it was like my last year. I was getting terrible grades, like C's, D's, and E's. I was in a program called IB, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to college. Like I can't take this anymore. Especially because being in school, I used to think I was stupid because like I just recently, like literally last year, realized I probably have ADHD. I didn't go to a doctor for it, but I mean all the symptoms are there, and so that affected me in school. And I always thought I was stupid because of that. And so as soon as when I graduated, I'm like, yeah, I can. My mom was upset about this, but I'm like, I can't do the college thing. So I'm going online. I find Ty Lopez. He was what I would consider my first mentor. He was talking about this idea of mentors and self-education, which was all new to me, and how you can become wealthy without a formal education. So I started working at a golf course. I wasn't just going to sit at home and not do anything. I had to work. I had to make some sort of money and not be a bum. So I worked at a golf course, and my first or second paycheck, I used that to get Ty Lopez's course. It was like 697. Marketers love that 7 number at the end for whatever reason. So $700, I bought that course. And initially, I'm doing the same things most new entrepreneurs do. I'm just like taking in all the information, but I'm not really applying. A lot of what I learned my first couple years in business was just like business really exposes who you are. Like if you have self-esteem problems, if you care what people think, business will expose that, because you got to do certain things to bring in money and make things happen, get on video, all that. So business would expose that. I was taking a course, wasn't really taking action, scared to get on sales calls. But in 2018, I was still also like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was thinking about e-commerce, affiliate marketing, all these other business models, had shiny object syndrome. Actually, if it's here, I'll show it, which it's not. I was gonna show you my first business. There's a magazine.
Oh yeah.
But that was the first. I wish I had it. That was the first business. It was a magazine highlighting the creators on a platform called Roblox. It's super huge now, but it was a magazine. It was somebody else started a magazine company, and I wanted to be like the Android to the Apple. So I created my own magazine, and then I never made any sales off it. Like we were just trying to do too much, focus and being simple is like big for me now because of like the years of trying to do too much at once. So this magazine, well, we created it, but we gave it away for free. I never really like went big with it, created like multiple issues and started selling it. But that was the first business. Then I wanted to focus on the marketing agency thing because I knew the marketing agency was where the money would be. So I started doing door to door and all the traditional methods, and that never really worked. But I did get my first sale in 2018 as an affiliate marketer, actually selling Ty Lopez's course using YouTube marketing. And then since then, I've generated like 20K in revenue just passively for him. And then I also got into promoting ClickFunnels products. And then as an affiliate marketer, generated tens of thousands of dollars for revenue with them. And then I actually didn't get my first client with a marketing agency until like 2020. So I think it was 2020, like beginning of 2020. That was when I actually got my first paying client for only like $500, but it was a client. Then my next client I think was like $1,000. But that's when I finally got my first sale. And I was making all that money as with my company Funnel Utopia. That was the brand for that company. Doing affiliate marketing and selling funnels using ClickFunnels, and then building everything from top to bottom. Then in 2020, the pandemic hit, and then this guy, Aaron Lawson, reached out to me, just trying to ask some questions about funnels. like what course should he buy, what not. Then he paid for a simple service. Like it was just, I paid him, I mean, it was like $50 or something to build like a banner for one of his clients for their Facebook profile. And then his father-in-law is a famous jazz musician. His name is Tom Schumann, and he couldn't perform because of the pandemic. So my business partner was like, "Hey, you got any ideas for him to make money?" So we thought of I thought of an online concert. He, to this day, he'll say it was his idea, but it was my idea. So we thought of this online concert, and then we launched it. I pretty much launched the whole thing. He was impressed. He was like, "Yeah, I've been looking for a guy like you, someone who like, I don't need like who understands the marketing thing. I don't need a coach, like someone I could who just gets it." I launched everything by myself. We made just $1,000. It was like a $17 ticket with some upsells, nothing crazy, but it was the first launch. Never launched, sold his own product before, so did that for him. He suggested we start a business partnership, and then I don't know if the story's too long.
No, keep going. Yeah.
Awesome. So we started a company, Expert Funnel Incubator, and then we started most of our first clients. We started getting them because he already had a relationship with them from a company he used to work with called the Author Incubator, where he was leading the organic marketing, and he had helped them cross $20 million in revenue with organic marketing. And we became business partners. A lot of our first clients were people he had built a relationship with over there. Their front end program is like a 5 figures, and their back end program is 5 figures. So we knew a lot of them had money. So the pricing was never a problem for us. My business partner knew how to sell, and then I knew how to get our clients results. So it was just kind of a perfect partnership. That dude's like my brother now. And that's the company we've been running together since 2020. And this year we're just trying to cross that 6-figure mark. We had a 6-figure run rate, but just like there's a quote that goes, "You don't have business problems, you just have personal problems that manifest in your business." So like when we were inconsistent, the business will be inconsistent. So we never crossed the 6-figure mark, but we have the skills, knowledge, and everything to do it. So that's kind of our goal this year, just to cross that 6-figure mark and probably invest the money in crypto and get rich.
Yeah.
So
I love this story. There's a few things in there that I just want to go back and touch on. The first one is, you said you forget how lucky you are to even be in America, that your mom won that lottery to even get here. And, gratefulness is something, it's really hard to practice being grateful for things, right? Because we take our vision and our breath and all this stuff for granted. But right now there's somebody that can't see, and there's somebody that's literally, we live in a time of COVID, and somebody's literally breathing their last breath. If you can't find, right now today, if I said, "Hey, here's $1 million, you want it?" You'd be really happy. But if I told you couldn't breathe tomorrow, you wouldn't take the $1 million, right? So this concept of not being grateful for these simple things, I don't understand it anymore. I understand not appreciating it from a standpoint of not acknowledging that I should be grateful for it. But I promise the world, if you can start being grateful for these little things, what you think are little things that are huge, right? Being in America and having the opportunity to live a free life and not have to ask permission to start your business, be grateful for that. Be grateful for opening your eyes this morning and being able to have a job and go out and earn money, right? These are all fantastic things that we all have today that we just take for granted. And I promise you, if you start your day in a happy mindset, it's going to carry you through, and being grateful for those little things is wildly important, right? Now, you narrowed down your niche, and it took you a long time. So tenacity is definitely something in your wheelhouse, right? You didn't give up. You got a first client in 2018. You were 18 years old. You got your first client. It was small, but it was probably a pretty cool event. And you kept just trying and changing and things like that. How important is it? Now you've niched way down, right? You've got a very specific niche, transformational authors. Not any book author, a very specific niche. In the marketing world, how important is it to really hone in on your exact target audience?
So I think I originally learned this from Sam Ovens, but in one of his webinars, he talks about the difference between a generalist and a specialist doctor, and how the specialist gets paid a lot more than the generalist. So anytime my friends even want to start a business, I tell them it's very important to figure out your niche, because it makes your life a lot easier. So number one, what you can do as a coach is you can charge a lot more, right? It helps you figure out your messaging. It helps you make your sales calls kind of just like your sales calls just become like the same call over and over again, because you figured out everything you need to say. You know all your clients' problems. You just need to. It just helps you get to know your ideal customer very well, and just makes marketing to them and selling to them and creating offers for them very easy.
Right. It's really important to know who your target audience is. And we talk about this a lot, about your everything in your entire sales funnel needs to look like your target audience. Your ad needs to have pictures of somebody similar to your core buyer or your potential buyer. When they get to your landing page, it needs to have more pictures that look like them. Your text needs to be written for them. The entire sales funnel. So if you've got a product or service today and you're like, oh, I've got 10 different audiences that I can market to, guess what? You need 10 different funnels from cradle to grave. You cannot use the same funnel to sell to a 45-year-old woman that likes Jeep Wranglers as you can for a 35-year-old man that drives a Mercedes. They're two different people. You have to talk to them differently. You have to show them different imagery, right? So,
and then sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, knowing that is wildly important. Go ahead, Desmond.
Yeah. There's a quote that goes, if you try to sell to everybody, you're selling to nobody. So
absolutely. So really, you got to narrow, like, if you don't want to bring your company and niche your company way down, which is hard to do, you at minimum have to niche your marketing down to your core buyers. And that's where we talk about this customer persona all the time. It's I hate the process of coming up with your customer personas. But when you do it and you have them all lined out and you create marketing strategies for each one of those customer personas, it changes the game dramatically, right? And it is so important to know that if you're going to go into online marketing, we're not in a world anymore where you just put a commercial on the Super Bowl and you get your ads. I mean, you can if you're Anheuser-Busch or Wonder Bread, but at the end of the day, that's not every business. You're running a small brick and mortar business, or you wrote a book, or you've got a consulting firm. You have to really know who you're trying to talk to. And if you're trying to talk to everybody, nobody's going to hear you. Absolutely nobody at all. So it's really important. I love that your input there. And I like that you really went down to transformational authors. There was one other thing that you talked about that I wanted to touch on. So you got the gratitude. Oh, you started this business out of high school. You knew college wasn't for you. I knew college wasn't for me, but I placated my mother and I tried to go. I dropped out a whole bunch. I think I dropped out of 3 different colleges before I finally said I'm done. And one of those was Washington University, an Ivy League. So I got in and I made it one year, and I said, this is not for me. And I moved on. This episode's launching in February of 22. You're a 23-year-old man. You started when you were 18, right out of high school. What advice would you give that kid that's struggling in high school, knows he's a hustler, and he doesn't want to go to college, and he wants to just get out of school and start his own business? What advice would you tell that kid today?
Okay, well, so starting a business, first thing is you want to be so getting your business off the ground. Things aren't going to happen as fast as you think. I know you're probably going to see some story online about how some dude went from like 0 to $1 million in 12 months or something. Like, it's very rare that it's going to be you. So what you want to do is you definitely want to have some sort of job that's providing you income. You definitely want to start trying to be as independent as possible ASAP. Like, just start paying your own bills and whatnot. Because if you are like living with your parents, for example, they might not be very happy with you not going to college, but still living under the roof. So you definitely want to, get a job, start paying your own bills, whatnot. And what's going to happen is, that job is also going to allow you to fund your business. Funding your business there's only so many ways to do it. You know, business loans, that's going to be hard to do that with your first business. Getting angel investors, again, very hard. Personal credit is one way you can fund your business, the income from your job. And then those are like, I guess I could say the main two ways. So, you know, get your job, start finding mentors, like find the top people. Don't listen to like smaller people who just like don't listen to somebody on how to start a marketing who just made like their first sale. I mean, they might be able to give you some advice, but like listen to people who have been in the game for a while, like the people who are like who've actually like who are where you want to be. Like they've gotten the sort of financial success with their business, even the personal financial success. And find your mentors. Education is big. You don't know what you don't know. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, obviously, but you know, winners, you know, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to keep going anyway. So yeah, get that job, find your mentors, educate yourself, and keep things super simple. Try not to overcomplicate things in your business. It sounds like a good idea to do a lot, but just don't, like, if you don't, sometimes you don't even need a website to get started, or if you have a website, like you need like a 2-page website depending on what you're doing. Keep things super simple. Don't focus so much on creating like a pretty logo. You know, you can always change your logo later. You can have your first initial logo. You don't want to change it like 5 million times. 2 or 3 times is okay. Just focus on getting to the money first. That's one of our sayings, like revenue first, create the revenue first, build your business later. Create the revenue first, build the business later. And then from then you continue to just reinvest in the business. Don't take the money out, because you can't grow like that. You can't pay contractors, you can't pay coaches. You just can't grow if you just keep spending every dime you make. And then taxes are real too. Keep track of your bookkeeping, because that's going to help you also get loans and whatnot, things you can do to fund your business later on, get business credit, be able to fly for free with travel points and whatnot. So keep track of your bookkeeping. So there's this book right here. It's by Dan Fleischman. This is a really good book. How to set up your business for under $1,000.
Okay.
I will check that out. And yeah.
And that goes through the whole process of getting your LLC, maybe doing a trademark here and there, a DBA, all of that fun stuff, the fundamentals. And if you're looking to start a business to do it the legal way, you're going to spend about $1,000 just to make sure you've got your LLC. Maybe you've applied for 1 or 2 trademarks, you got your bank account open and all those things. You got a Stripe or, you know, a Square account or something like that. It's going to cost you $500 to $1,000 just to get set up so you can do business, right? A couple things that you said there that I absolutely love. One is get off your parents', you know, checkbook, right? Be your own person. One thing that's going to teach you right away is if you're running a business that's under $250,000 a year, the bookkeeping isn't that different than running a $35,000 a year household, right? The balancing the checkbook, all that stuff. When you over 250 or $500,000, $1 million business, then you start having depreciation and, you know, you got to use the general accounting practices and things like that. But up until then, it's all about the same. So you have to know how to run a household before you can run a business, right? And you have to have a lot of relationships. So, you know, really make sure that you're doing the work on yourself to make sure that you can have good, healthy, positive relationships in your life. Your parents are bummed that you didn't go to college. So be it, man. It's not their life anymore. It's yours. Once you hit 18, it's your life to do what you want with it. And it's sad if your parents don't like your path, but don't, you know, I can't tell you much advice on college. I wasn't the best student. If you hate it, I would say it's not a benefit to go into a whole bunch of debt to educate yourself on something that you don't want to do in your life. YouTube, Udemy, all of those things are great resources to educate yourself on business. And I know in technology and probably marketing, certificates hold more weight than degrees in reality. So, you know, look for the best out there. You know, I take the best marketing classes in the planet from for myself to learn this stuff and keep growing. So I think that's all of that is fantastic advice, Desmond. Thank you so much for that input. I really did appreciate it, and I hope some of the listeners did too. To wrap up the show today, and I know this is a little bit of a touchy subject for you, but you know, in the world of technology, how do you see technology changing your industry in the future? And we can talk, you know, 6 months, a year out, or even, you know, with VR, 5-10 years out.
Okay, so you know, we are going to Web 3.0. Things are constantly changing with ad platforms and everything. We were using some sort of AI tool in our marketing that would write copy. And so AI is probably going to be super big in the future, definitely worth looking into. I just think when it comes to marketing, like at the end of the day, wherever the world goes when it comes to technology, like you're dealing with people at the end of the day. So it's always important to understand like foundational business and marketing principles, because you're always going to be dealing with people, like understanding human psychology, like everything you do online when it comes to copywriting and messaging and offer creation, like all of this stuff is just rooted in, it's just like is you just translating what happens in real life online, right? It's just you understanding how people buy things and how people behave, and then just you know, translating that online, like if yeah, essentially. So understand the basic marketing and business principles, and then just be quick. They say what money loves speed, or I think that's a quote. Yeah, money loves speed. So when, you know, these things, when these changes are happening, make sure, you know, your YouTube is free. Like all these platform information is free. So simply just make a search, just understand it a little so you can speak intelligently about it, and so that you can keep up. A lot of businesses couldn't go. A lot of businesses didn't go online fast enough with the whole pandemic. So a lot of them don't exist now. Or like really took a major hit. So, and you know, the internet has been around for years. Like people should know they need to have an online presence and whatnot. So people were so late on that. If you know, be early on Web 3.0, do your research on that. Because yeah, definitely with marketing, I know there's already, online marketing has already been around for so long, and AI has been around for a minute now, but it's probably going to be more predominant. Yeah, absolutely. AI is probably one of the biggest trends I see happening.
Yeah, so on the Internet 3.0, folks, I mean, this is important stuff. You know, Internet 1.0 closed a lot of mom and pop shops. Internet 2.0 closed companies like Circuit City and Blockbuster, and I mean, huge companies went out of business because they didn't adopt the new technology. And there's going to be a plethora of new businesses that are not going to make it because they don't adopt the technology in Internet 3.0. And it's coming. VR is coming. Crypto is coming. And they're not coming. They're here, right? They're already here. Exactly. So you've got to start adopting these technologies. You don't even have to adopt them, but you at least have to know what they are and know ways that you can implement them inside your business, right? There is no way that a brick and mortar business is going to exist in the future unless they adopt some kind of online presence. It's just not going to happen, right? These kids today, at least half the youth are going to be stuck in these VR glasses. Until augmented reality gets here, a lot of our youth is going to be stuck in these VR glasses. And I'm not joking. They're going to be in there for 8 to 10 hours a day. And some of them more, right? Some of them are going to die in those glasses. It's going to be... it's wildly immersible. It's scary. It's not... You know, it's going to expose a lot of weaknesses, but it's also going to have a lot of greatness, right? Education, teaching remote. I mean, you can take motherboards that are this big today and blow them up as big as a house and really explain the circuitry. So like the educational, the tours, all this stuff is going to be so cool. And it is dangerous though. So there's going to be some ebbs and flows here, and who knows? I mean, China's already outlawed the internet 1 day a week, right? So because they had such a big problem, but it's scary stuff, but it's also a lot of fun. And as a business owner, you have to start adopting this stuff. And as a marketer, I mean, the world of VR for marketing products is amazing, right? You can hang virtual flyers up in any virtual building that you want to as people are walking through. So how you're going to monetize that in the future, I don't know if anybody knows yet completely how this is all going to fly. Desmond, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I think you gave the audience a lot of good information to go with, especially those younger kids that are coming out of high school and they want to figure out this journey, and they don't want to have this traditional employment life cycle. And I think it's important that we keep pushing these kids to take the same paths that we did, if that's what they want to do. Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with before we go?
Wake up every day and just be grateful for what you have. I was in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, December, from the end of November to the beginning of December, and I mean, I saw poverty. Like, you know, there's poverty in Baltimore and DC, but there I saw poverty. And even the last time I was in Africa was like I was 2, and from 2 to 6. So I don't remember, but I know there's poverty. My parents grew up poor, so just definitely practice gratitude every single morning. Count your blessings, even with this whole pandemic. Practice gratitude. Just count your blessings. And then with business, I think everything works itself out. If you just, everything works itself out at the end. Just don't get too stressed. Stress is a very bad state to be in. It doesn't really help you at all. Like, it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose. So things work itself out. Calm down. Keep things simple. And yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Desmond. I appreciate your time today, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I wish you luck with the podcast.
Thank you so much. That's it for today's show, folks. Again, if you'd like to join my text line community, it's 314-370-2871. To join that community, all you have to do is ask me any question you want about business or technology, and I'll give you an absolutely free, unbiased opinion, and I'll try to sell you anything on that line. Get to work.